Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do 13. Exponent rules. If a to the xc times x to the bc is equal to x to the 30, and we're making sure x is greater than 1, when we have numbers next to each other, remember we can add these exponents if they're the same base. So let's add these. And now we can compare. So comparatively, we know if this whole thing is equal to this whole thing, then these two exponents have to be equal, right? And let's factor out a c, right? We want it to look like this, a plus b. So I'm going to factor out a c, and we have a plus b. And now it says a plus b is 5. Okay, so where I see the a plus b, I can substitute a 5. And I'm pretty darn close to finding the value of c. If I divide 5 on both sides, I get 6. Beautiful. And that is one of my traces. Let's take a look. We're switching into calculator. So these would show up on part 4 of the test. It says and that doesn't mean you need one, but it means that you would have the opportunity to use one. So n to the third is equal to x, and n to the fourth is equal to 20x, where n is forced to be positive. Okay. Now, what is the value of x? So I know something about what n to the fourth power is equal to, right? Oh, excuse me, you couldn't see that. Sorry about that. So I just copied the problem down. N to the third is equal to x, n to the fourth, 20x. So if I multiply both sides by n, now this side of the equation is n to the fourth. And so now I have that. Now, additionally, I can substitute this in for n to the fourth because I know n to the fourth is equal to 20x. Okay, so I have 20x. N to the fourth is equal to 20x, so 20x is equal to x times n. So notice I can divide x on both sides, and I'm seeing that n has to equal 20. But that's not what they asked for, but that's going to help me get to my final answer. So I know that n is 20. We can also kind of see that here. If n to the fourth is 20 times x, n would have to be 20 here, okay? So now, going back to the problem, what would x need to be? Well, we already see that x is equal to n to the third power. So if n is 20, then x has to be equal to 20 to the third power, or 20 times 20 times 20, which is 8,000. Okay. 15. If x to the 8th, 7th is 333, and that's equal to 3. What's the value of x times y? Okay, so it looks like I'm really close to this being, this is almost this if I multiply more things on both sides. So let's do that. We've got x to the 7th, y to the 6th. Let's multiply another x on both sides. So now I'm going to have x to the 8th. And let's multiply another y. So another y, but again, what you do to one side of the equal sign, do the right. So now I can rewrite this, x to the 8th, y to the 7th. And I know this stuff has to equal that. Make sense? And I also know this stuff is equal to 333. So this is equal to 333. So I substitute in for that stuff. And I almost have, when they say solve for xy, that means get xy by itself on one side. So I'm almost there. If I divide by 3 on both sides, I get xy has to equal 111. So that's my answer. These are tough, guys. Again, I put it on a 600 level, but some of these are, I would say, almost a 700 level question. Great job. Let me know if you got more questions.